I was working on some stuff, putting handles on some odds and ends that I had laying around, and I got involved in this, which is a jersey pattern, which is unusual around here. I never run across them. I think it must be like an East Coast thing. But the one thing I do, well, it's unmarked. This head and a couple other heads the guy sent me, including this one, which I'm putting together. I put a new handle on to use for driving wedges because, you know, you don't want that square. You want it kind of rounded. So I'm doing that one. But I happen to think, when I put that together, you know, like I say, these were both unmarked, but I'm sure they're both the Kelly. You know, for a while they were putting like paper labels on them. But I've run into this before, where the Kelly ones have got these splines in there that dig in, and they keep the head from shifting this way. You know, there's 4 of them in this one, 4 of them in the other one too. Some of the double bits I think are 6, but that's right, you could be pretty sure you've got a true temper if it's that. But like I say, I've never quite dealt with one of these before, so I'm curious to use it. You know, to me, you know, they're short this way and wide this way. I don't know what the advantage of that would be. I would think they would behave more like a meat cleaver, but I'm willing to try it. But I'm cleaning up, you know, she's been through a little. Get the edges squared away on it, get any burrs off of it. But it's interesting. Since they're so wide this way, it's a little hard to fit them because they go, you know, I'll be way back on the shoulder. You know, I'll be way back in here. I'll have to cut this all down. But that's a good Bowman handle. I always keep a few of them on hand. That's what this one is. Same thing, the Bowman, but this is the straight handle because for driving wedges, you know, if you're using it like a hammer, better to have a straight one. But I have to think, you know, in going through stuff, just doing maintenance on it, I really have quite a few of the True Temper Kelly axes. Yeah, another thing I had to do with this one was grind out, there was a burr in here from people beating them on and off. You know, you always get that. You know, I have a lot of, like my Husqvarna stuff that's more of the, you know, particular purpose. But for general purpose, really like that, you know, you get like a 3.5 pound, you know, that's about right. You know, a lot of people, like this is that Husqvarna small forest axe. Now they're very small. You know, that's like a hatchet size head, which is all right for certain things. But the one I use most, well, it's got, you can see I was using it. I was cutting up a roadkill deer for dog food. But this is a Kelly, the flint edge. You know, and it's a light head, but you know, it's considerably bigger than the Husqvarna one. Though the handle is only a little longer. I put a boy's handle on it. But this is a very handy axe. For general purpose kind of an axe. So these, if you start hacking on a tree with one of these, they're just too light. They're nice in that you can pack them very easily, but they are just really light. Most of them Swedish ones are. They tended to make light axes. I don't quite know why, but it seems like most of them I run into Like even, this is an old HB double bit. You know, it's a 3.5 pound, but that's a light axe. You know, I've got a lot heavier ones. You know, for serious chopping. And I don't know that they made heavier ones. Like this is that 5 pound Collins. Well, that's a serious axe. But that's a good, like a wedge driver. But heavy to carry around all the time. That's where something, you know, like a 3.5 pound. You're getting right in the nice range there for general purpose use. Well, like I say, I'm sure this is a Kelly, probably a wood slasher, though there isn't any markings on it anywhere. At least that I can see. I'll clean it up a little more and maybe it'll show more, but I was curious just to try it, you know, and to see how this design behaves, because there are people that swear by the Jersey pattern, but myself, I don't quite see it. But I'll try chopping with it, you know, and see. It really wouldn't be for splitting. It's narrow. You know, it'd be for chopping, but even then, like say, chopping a tree down, you ain't got much reach here. And most of the time, the axes that were used for that had a long reach on them. So, I don't know. I don't know what the theory, but I do like having those splines inside. It just keeps everything squared away. Though, when you've got those and then you have these cheeks back here, which again, I like, but it does make it a lot harder fitting. Because like I say, I know on this one, you know, right off the bat, they're going to be way back here. There'll be enough room to get around there, but just barely. But I'll have to chop a lot of this down. But there again, I run into this all the time where handles, they usually make them real heavy in here. So you end up removing a lot of that extra material. You know, these Bowman aren't as bad as some handles. I've seen some are really bad. But I like a lot smoother fit in that area. You know, like this bloody one, where it just tapers and slides in there tight. You know, that's what I like. I don't like that big bulge back in here. Doesn't need to be there. Because it doesn't do any good. All it does, you know, it makes you think, well, you got a really heavy duty handle. Well, what's here doesn't matter. It's going to break right here. You know, so you're better off to have it tapered so that the stress is over the whole area rather than concentrated in just that one small area. See, that's like these Husqvarna ones. They come, you know, nice smooth taper, no big bulges. Got the cheeks in there, but I don't know why. You know, none of those companies seem to want to make something of a decent size. You know, them Swedish ones, you never run into like a 4 pound one. I don't see them. Of course, really, I don't run into, like I say, I don't run into these. Basically, what we get here are either the True Temper ones turn up, and some of the Swedish ones turn up because a lot of them drifted in from the loggers in Minnesota, and they were all Swedes, or mostly. So we get some of those old ones here, but for the most part, it's the True Temper stuff. But generally speaking, well, there's some plum. Once in a while you run into a plum. I don't even own one now. I think years ago I had a small carpenter's axe that was a plum, and I think somebody run off of that one time. But every time I've looked at the plum ones, they seem heavy, you know, like thick in here, maybe for splitting, but for general work, I prefer either the Collins or preferably the True Temper. I guess that's just, I like them Kelly ones. Just a good design. Well, they did it for a long time. They knew what they were doing. But a lot of times, like these ones with no name on them, it's really not surprising because they were making a lot of axes for a lot of other companies. So you don't want to go and stamp your name in them. You put a sticker on it, whoever is selling them can put their sticker on them. But I am curious about this jersey pattern. I think I'd be surprised if this surprises me, but I tell you, you run into people who swear by that pattern. And it might be a matter of just what you're used to. You know, you've got a lot of cutting edge there, which I guess is good. Like, say, if you're going after a tree with something like this, with that short, you know, it's only half as much edge there, you're going to be pecking away at it for a long time. Something like this, you're going to take a big chunk out. I don't know. Curious. It wasn't in too bad a shape, like I say, it'd been beat on and off. But, you know, my thought on this stuff, you know, people buying these $200 axes, that's just kind of nonsense. I think, you know, there's a lot of these old ones floating around. You know, like, this bloody thing, I got that head at that auction sale locally, but I bought some off eBay, assorted heads. Yeah, in fact, that's where that big college came. That was on eBay. But there again, it's always a matter of if you luck out and find somebody's got one listed that doesn't know what they have, and nobody happens to catch it, you know, because I didn't pay a lot for that. I don't pay a lot for anything, but I think that's really the way to go. You know, find yourself an old axe head, put a decent handle on it, call it good. You know, you don't really need to spend that tremendous amount of money. I just as soon see people, you know, there's so much old stuff out there in not just axes, but in all kinds of stuff. Don't need to be buying new all the time. Kind of use up the old stuff first. It's kind of hard to use up an axe. You know, they get to, like that one is, you know, getting toward the end of its life, but, like I say, for pounding wedges, it'll be perfectly fine. And I'm not going to put a lot of, I'll take the wire brush to it and clean it up some, put a little bit of an edge on her, but for pounding wedges, I don't really need a good edge on her. I just need a heavy enough flat one. I mean, I've got one I made special for that too, that's a little lighter than that. That's got the short handle on, which is handy to carry around. But for driving the big wedges in the big trees, I need something with a little more oomph. That'd be good to have along. So let's get to the time of year where I got to do more cutting. I'm just starting so I can get around. Still got a little ways to go, though. I got snow piled up all over. And the crap, it's just slowly settling down. But if you cut them this time of year, get them out while the ground is still froze, so you don't tear stuff up. And if you do, you know, late winter, early spring, if you cut, it's when the sap starts going up. So the sapwood from last year is already hardening up, and the new sapwood is starting to form, so there's enough juice in there that you can peel the bark off pretty easy. It comes off pretty clean. Whereas if you let them sit, cut them wrong time of year, let them sit, that bark just anchors on there. You end up chipping every piece off. If you get it when the sap is in it, you can peel it off in sheets. Just makes it easier to work with. Because I have had that problem before where you're on some of these oaks where you're chipping every piece off. It makes me think too, I always have to laugh when people are, I see this only on YouTube again. That's one of them things where people like to make stuff out of live edge wood. well, you know, the edge of a piece of wood, well, like this piece here, is the soft wood where the bark was just starting to harden up and stuff. That's the last thing you want exposed to the elements. You know, I get rid of that as quick as I can and get down to more substantial wood. But I see people doing it. Ooh, live edge siding. That's just going to rot and peel apart. But they're going to, like I say, it's one of the things I want to see on YouTube. YouTube is full of that stuff. People talking nonsense about things they're not really familiar with. I have one little nick in there I got to get out. Not much though. Actually, she's in pretty good shape. You know, even this top wasn't mushroomed that much. Where sometimes you get them where they're beat all out of shape. But I really like that. You know, them having them ridges in there. But like I say, it does make them harder fitting. Like now where I'm putting this, you know, you drive it back and those ridges start gouging in. You know, I've got that little corner chisel and cut a little groove in there. Let them slide further back. But I know I got to take off a lot of wood in here because she's got to go a lot further back. But this is a good solid handle. I do like them. Yeah, I'm heating up water to wash clothes. I think it's warm enough I can make a try at her.